Hello. welcome. It's the Real Daddy God Show, and my name is Anastasia Macdonald, and over here we are learning to be fathered by God through everyday living. Over here we're learning what it is to be Daddy God's child. So we're learning what it is to be, and to walk with Him, to be fathered by Him through everyday living. We're learning to change our ways from being adopted to being the beautiful children of God. And obviously, since we're learning, good afternoon, Queen Justine. Hello. So because we are learning, we're learning to take off old behaviors and put on new behaviors. So we're on a journey together, and so yes, it's an exciting journey. There are twists and turns, ups and downs, and everything between. But you know what? We are loved by an amazing Daddy God. So before we get into it, how are you, Queen Justine? long time no see. How are you? I am so excited, when Daddy God is doing something new in you, and He is changing you from one degree to another degree where you're not what you used to be, and you're growing in confidence, and you're just becoming the person that He designed you to be. It is just beautiful, just like you see a flower unfold, and that's my story. So before we get into it, I'm going to ask you to please do the usual. Please share, please tag, please invite somebody, because we are always, like I said, we're always one person away from our breakthrough. We're always one person away from our breakthrough. What do I mean? What I mean is that we have some knowledge or key knowledge that can make the world of difference to somebody. Hello, Prince. How are you? Hi. All the way from Germany. Hi. How is your dad and everybody? My greetings to them. So yes, please share. It's very important, because I know it's happening to me, where somebody forwarded a message to me, and then I am no more the same again. Daddy God has brought me a long way from where I used to be to where I am today, that I can sit in front of the camera and talk to all of you out there and encourage you, and to, as you watch my journey, or you see where I'm coming from, then you too can be encouraged. Good afternoon. Hello. I don't know who's joining me. Hello, Jacob. Hi. If you can just hold on a second there, I need to invite somebody onto the show, so just give me a minute, please. This is amazing. Thank you for joining me live this afternoon. Hi. Right, so this afternoon we're going to be continuing what I started last two weeks. So I started this new topic, which is called 5 transforming lessons about Daddy God that will help you become rooted in your true identity. Now, why have I chosen to go down that line? Number one, because of my personal story, because of where I have been, because of where Daddy God has taken me from to where I am today. And secondly, I feel like Daddy God has a message for people who are hurting. There are a lot of people who are hurting, especially when it comes to knowing your identity, your true identity. When you've been labeled by the world, when you've been told that nothing good can come out of you, you are a good for nothing person, or you've been labeled you're too fat, you're too slim, you're dumb, you're this, you're that. And these words come from, sometimes unfortunately, from our parents. They come from maybe our relatives. They come from leaders like teachers. It can come even from the church. The church can really wound you. It can come from everywhere and everywhere. And above all, it can come from, well, most of the time it comes from the enemy that comes to try and distort our true image, our image that was created after the likeness of Daddy God. So really intrigued when you look at the world is in trouble. The world is in trouble. Not many people know their true selves, and you can only know your true selves after the one that created you, your original creator, which is Daddy God. So I have a message for you, a message of hope for those of you who are hurting. I want you to know that Daddy God, he sees you. Daddy God, he knows you. He knows exactly where you are. He knows where you're hurting. He knows the troubles that you're going through, the struggles, the challenges. He knows how you're trying your best to be yourself, but you find yourself following after other people. Good afternoon, Tina and Queen Joyce. Thank you for joining me live this afternoon. So Daddy God is aware of your problems. He's aware of your challenges. He's aware of your pain. And I believe that he sent me as a voice to communicate his heart and his intention for you, so that you will no longer be hurting, but you would gain understanding, you gain wisdom, you gain a true perspective, a true picture of who you really are. And then you can begin to walk with him. That is what I like, especially today. I just feel this in my heart, that he wants me to address this to the people who are really, really, really hurting. You know, you've been told very, very negative stuff. You've been wounded by words telling you you are nothing, you're too fat, you're too slim, why can't you be like your brother, why can't you be like your sister, you're ugly, you're this, everything else, all these labels. And he has a heart for you. So I started 3 weeks ago with a message, or the title, 5 life transforming lessons about Daddy God that will help you to become rooted in Daddy God. It will help you. It's a journey. We don't just become overnight. And especially when you've had tapes, you know, playing in your head from your childhood, you know, it takes a long time for that to be changed, for that tape to play a new tape, you know. So it takes time for the new tape as you begin to walk with Daddy God. So last 2 weeks, I started with number 1, that you were in the heart and mind of Daddy God. What does that say? That talks about intention. That talks about love, somebody who loves you. So you were in the heart and mind of Daddy God before he brought you to this world. You didn't just happen. And even if you know you came through painful means, good afternoon, Charles, hello. So even if you came through, if I can say with all due respect, rape, it doesn't nullify Daddy God's plan and his purpose for your life. It still remains the same. So that's, you know, lesson number 1, that you were in the heart and the mind of God before he created the world. So, you know, imagine when somebody says he's been thinking about it. Good afternoon, Gbenga, hi. So he was thinking about you, were in his heart and his mind. When you're in the heart and mind of somebody, that means you're special. So you were there before he created the world. And also the word tells us that before we were formed in our mother's womb, he knew us, he knew you, he knew me. Once more, intention, love, purpose, plan. You're not an accident. I beg your pardon. And so we moved on to lesson number 2 last week, which was you were created for a personal relationship, for intimacy. And the Bible tells us in Revelation 4:11 that he created all things for his pleasure. He created all of you and me, everything to enjoy. Now, if you're created for enjoyment, surely that doesn't make you anything less than something that is of value, something that is purposeful, something that is pleasurable. Because if you're made to be enjoyed, to walk with God, then it means that Daddy God values you, and you know, you're so precious to him. And these are the things that he's been taking me through personally, and it's been my journey, my experience. And why do I use the word gobsmacked? Pardon me. Why do I use the word gobsmacked? Because where I used to be was a place of darkness, and then, you know, to have my mind opened to see the truth, I could you know, just be shocked, be astounded, be surprised, like, oh my goodness, so this is me? Me? Is this how Daddy God thinks about me? Because I lacked a lot of confidence. And, you know, for those of you who don't know my story, and I need to mention this all the time in case there are new viewers, and I know there will be. With new viewers, you need to go and watch one of my YouTube channels at Anastasia Macdonald, My Life Story Series. There I share my whole journey before I was born. So when I was in my mother's womb, I share the story, what happened to me in my mother's womb, right up until the age when I was about 53, what my journey and how far Daddy God has brought me to. So if you go to Anastasia Macdonald on YouTube, My Life Story Series, it is there for you to watch so that you can begin to appreciate this person that is sitting in front of you and talking to you. Oh, hello, Queen Forma, hello. And Mesonga, thank you for joining me live this afternoon. So this is important. You cannot begin to appreciate what I'm talking to you or what I'm sharing with you unless you know my story. So please, I would encourage you. And for those of you who missed, I beg your pardon if I'm going so fast. I'm just feeling so excited and so passionate. So those of you who missed the last two series, please go to my other YouTube channel at The Real Daddy God Show with Anastasia Macdonald. So The Real Daddy God Show with Anastasia Macdonald at YouTube, you'll find the previous series there. So today I'm continuing. Today we're looking at lesson point number 3, which is you are a masterpiece. You are a masterpiece. Now, I'd like to ask you, when you hear the word masterpiece, what comes to your mind? What is it that comes to your mind when you hear the word masterpiece? Masterpiece. For some of you, it may be Picasso, who was a painter, a sculptor, a ceramicist, and all of he was a famous artist in his time. And his works today, even though he died so many years ago, he's left a legacy, and up to date people still mention his name. So if you've never heard of Picasso, I will encourage you to Google him and go and see his works of art. You know, and then you maybe masterpiece, you may think of Leonardo da Vinci. He was also a master artist during his time, and his work still speaks today. He was a skillful artist, and his works are amazing. So we're talking about this afternoon, point number 3, you are a masterpiece. You are a bespoke work of art. A bespoke work of art. A bespoke work of art. Now, what does the dictionary say about masterpiece? I know that all of you out there are intelligent people, but just for listening purposes, good afternoon, Linda. Let me just read what this thing says. So Merriam-Webster says that a masterpiece is a work done with extraordinary skill. A work done with extraordinary skill. Extraordinary skill. Extraordinary skill. So think about that. Pardon me. My husband, he's put something in the oven and he's choking me over here. God bless our husbands. Anyway, back to the subject. So we're talking about masterpiece here. You are a bespoke work of art. And I know that this may be difficult to believe, especially, once again, when you have been told that you're going to amount to nothing, there's nothing good to your name, or you've been labeled the black sheep, or you've been ostracized, or you've been cast aside, or you've been looked down upon, or you've been continually trod on, or you feel like you are no good, or the teachers have labeled you that you're nothing, you don't have anything, you can't, this your thick head, can't you get things into that, you're told that thick head of yours, and you have somebody pointing to your head and your skull, can't you get this into the thick skull of yours? When this has been played over and over again, it becomes you. It becomes this message that is played over and over again. And what you hear over and over again, you begin to believe it. And it begins to shape your beliefs and your behavior. And you end up walking and behaving like something is wrong with you, or you've got a mental case. But that's not what Daddy God says. Daddy God never made you to be anything less. You are a bespoke work of art. Now, last year I came across this architecture in China. It's a library, and the library, let me look for the name again. The library is called, and listen to this, this library is called the Tianjin Binhai Library, and it's in China, and it's a futuristic library with 1.2 million books. I'm going to get my laptop and turn it around and for you to have a look, but I hope you can see it. Let me just turn it around for you, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. So if you just hold it a second, and I don't know, hopefully you can see it. This is the Tianjin Library. So I know, let me just blow it up a bit. Right, this is the library. This is they opened it in China last year. Look at that. Look at that bespoke work of art. It's got 1.2 million books in there. Hello, Nikki. I'm going to show you another picture here. This will see this better. This is it there. That's the library there. That's it there. So when I saw this library, I went, oh my goodness, this is a masterpiece. This is a bespoke work of art. I mean, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. In fact, I would love to be able to go to China and go and visit just because of this library. I love reading. I love books. So, I mean, it would just do me, it would do me great honors to be able to go to China just to go and look at that library, you know. But now we're talking about you and I. You and I. Daddy God says we are a masterpiece. What does that say to you? How do you understand that? When Daddy God says you are a masterpiece, so Ephesians 2:10, it says, for we are God's masterpiece. I'm not my husband's masterpiece. I'm not my mother's masterpiece. I'm not my daddy's masterpiece. I'm not my family's, and I'm not, it's not my family that's making me a masterpiece, or my teacher, or the people that may have labeled me, or you and I. We are God's masterpiece. Think about it for a second, or say to yourself, I am God's masterpiece, and pause there. Have you ever taken the time to pause and reflect that you are God's masterpiece? Now, what if you got a letter, and I said this last week, what if you got a letter from the Queen? Say you were doing something on Facebook or social media or something like what I'm doing right now, and let's say the Queen watched you and she sent you a letter and said, you know what, I've been watching you and you are a masterpiece. If she sent that letter, what would happen to you? Wouldn't you be excited? Wouldn't you first of all be excited to receive a letter from the Queen? Or let's say it was from Prince Charles or his children. Would you not be excited to receive a letter from them? And then the Queen goes on in the letter, says to you that, actually, I've been watching you and I've been seeing what you're doing and the work that you're doing, and the work that you are doing is a masterpiece. How would you feel? What would that do to you? What would that do to you? Well, we're not talking about the Queen here, or the Sultan of Dubai, or any person of any, dignitary. We're talking about the creator of the heavens of the earth, the one who made you and I. We're talking about Daddy God. Or for those of you who may not know him as Daddy, we're talking about God. God who created everything. And in between, God who created everything. He says, you are a masterpiece. Now, once again, I just want us to just take a second there and think about it. You are a masterpiece. Say it to yourself. I am a masterpiece. And if you and I are a masterpiece, then it means the one who created us is the master artist. the master creator. And if he's the master creator, then he doesn't make trash. Now, let's take the example of somebody, an apprentice that is learning the craft of their master. So an apprentice that's learning, let's say, the craft of artistry from their master. And since the master is very skillful in what they do, then it means that whatever you take from that person, and if you're a good student, you're also going to produce masterful work. You're going to produce masterful work. So here we're talking about Daddy God himself. Daddy God himself. Thank you, Queen Justine. Thank you very much for putting the link there about the library. Thank you so much. So there's a link for you. Justine has put the library there for you today. It's just an incredible masterpiece. So Daddy God, if he's a master artist, shouldn't that behoove you and I to take time to begin to study ourselves, to really take time to begin to look at ourselves through his lenses, so for us to stop looking and listening to people, what people are telling us about ourselves, to shut out the noise and to tune in to what Daddy God, since he is the master artist, shouldn't we begin to take time to do that? And you know we can do that is when we begin to walk closely with him. We enter a relationship with him, a relationship where he can begin to show us, to begin to unveil. So you see, like when somebody wants to do an inaugural, or they're about to unveil their art, when you go to this ceremony, the art is covered up. And then when it's time, and it's time for the ceremony, then it's taken off. It is peeled off. And then you begin to see this wonderful work of art from the artist. But you needed to go to the ceremony to see that. And so for you and I, we need to enter this personal relationship with our Creator, because he is the one who designed you. He is the one with the good intentions. He is the one who had everything before he put you in your mother's womb. And like I said before, even though your entrance into the world may have been a painful one, so with all due respect, say, let's say you came through rape, it does not nullify his intention and his love and his extreme skill and work of art in your life and my life. Or maybe you've messed up life, and you're in a hard place, and you think, what is there to my life? There is something. It is not nullified. So we'll talk about 5 transforming lessons about Daddy God that will help you become rooted in your true identity. And this afternoon I'm talking about lesson number 3, which is you are a masterpiece. So you are a masterpiece. Now, how do we look into that more? In Psalm 139, the Bible tells us that, here was David. Daddy God had given him insight, and he was sharing. So he said that I will offer you my grateful heart, for I am your unique creation, filled with wonder and awe. You have approached even the small details with excellence. Your works are wonderful. You and I, we are an excellent work of art. What does this mean? This means that, like I said, you're going to have to take time to study yourself. You're going to have to be an inspector of yourself. So, for example, you're going to have to look at to understand your personality. Are you introverted or are you extroverted? How do you process information? Do you process information very quickly, or do you need time to process information? Are you somebody that loves to stay and work alone, or do you need to be, the people of the party, or do you need to be amongst many people? We're all unique. We're all individually and uniquely made. We are, hello Hezekiah, every one of us is a unique work of art. So you need to study yourself. You know, so for example, I did a lot. I've been, oh my goodness, because of my journey, I have been on a long journey of studying myself. So I'm an introverted personality. I'm the kind of person that draws energy by being alone. And once I'm by myself for a while and I've gathered energy, then I go out and then I pour out that energy. So for example, me doing this this live broadcast, the Real Daddy God Show, I need time away from all the noise, you know, to gather energy, to study. Then once I'm full up with the energy, then I can go out and I can go and pour out to people. I can come before the camera. But for other people, it may be the opposite. They need to be in the people, with people. If they're not with lots and lots of people, they can't function. And that's okay, because that's how Daddy God made you. You know, that's how he made you. Ah, you see, it says I'm INTJ. I am INFP. That's my personality. INFP. You know, so it's important to understand your personality. It's important to understand your passions. What are the things that drive you? I mean, I love books. I absolutely love books. And for your information, my husband is always complaining because the books take more on our bed than the two human beings. He's always telling me, push, your books are taking space. But that's okay. I absolutely love books. I mean, I'm not into fashion. I'm not into bags, shoes. No, my stuff is books. I love books. And I have, you know, I have this skill. I can pull up very good books for you that I know will make a difference, you know, in your life. It's just, it is what it is. It's what is given to me. Now, you need to understand your interests as well. You need to understand your gifts, your talents. You need to understand your experience, the journey that Daddy God has brought you from, because he doesn't waste things. You need to do that. Whether it means employing a coach, whether it means buying the books out there, because you know the internet is deep, is wide. You can find anything on the internet, but it's important to understand your masterpiece for you to begin to develop confidence and self-identity that is rooted in Daddy God. You need to understand yourself. You need to understand your passions, your interests, your inclinations, the way you do stuff, you know, the way there's a way about you. There is a way. There's a special way about you. There is a special way. You are one of a kind. There's nobody like you. You know, your iris. You see today that, you know, when you go to the airport and you go through the end, especially the UK and other developed countries, they use your iris to allow you entrance. Hi, Ezekiel. So they allow, they use your iris for identification, because there's only one of you. Nobody has the same eyes as you, and nobody has the same thumbprints of you, and nobody has the same handprints as you. We are all masterpieces in our own unique way. We're all beautiful, created and designed by God. And when we begin to do our homework and we get to know ourselves, then we can become rooted in Daddy God. We can begin to celebrate ourselves. Now, like I said last week, for the longest of time, I used to be told, oh, Anastasia, you're too quiet. You're too quiet. You're too quiet. Can please really open your mouth? Yes, my mom used to beg me. She used to say, my daughter, please open your mouth and talk. Please open your mouth and talk. And I grew up feeling that there was something wrong with me. Even, I'm going to be honest with you, even into my 40s, in my late 40s, I used to feel that there was something wrong with me. And, you know, it even got to a place where it was like I was looking at it as like an incurable disease, and say, so, you know, can't you be like other people, you know? And I'm telling you, I've been in that place. I've been in a place where I've tried to be talkative, and it's not me. It's fake, you know? It's fake. That's not me. That is not me. And so, like I said, I used to be embarrassed that I didn't talk. And I used to hate the fact that I was quiet. I used to look down on myself. But then I began to study. I began to study myself. When I realized that, look, everything about me is a gift from Daddy God, I began to study. And I discovered, like Justine put there, I discovered that I was INFP. That's my personality. And that my quietness is used to observe the environment. I'm able to read emotional climate. I'm able to see what other people can't see. I'm able to read what is not said. And it's just because I'm quiet. And I discovered that I have keen observation. I can pick up things very, very easily that people miss. My eyes see things that people don't see. But that's okay. And if you're not like that, that's okay, because you're wired differently. But I'm giving you the example so you can begin to understand the masterpiece that is of you. Your own masterpiece given by Daddy God. You know, and I realized that I also have a, you know, I'm a very good listener. I'm very attentive. So, and you know, these things, it's taken time. It's taken a long time. And if some of them are the feedback that I'll get, that Anastasia, you really do listen. You really do listen to me. And I, you know, began to celebrate the fact that I'm a good listener. And I realized that, you know, we live in a world that is very noisy. The world is very noisy, and there are a lot of people who are lonely out there, very lonely. They may wear, designer suits, they may have the best of the jobs, but they are very, very lonely. They just need somebody to listen to them, not to talk to them, but somebody who will just listen to them, just be there and to listen to them. That's all they need, and they'll be okay. And when I found out that, oh my goodness, so my attentive listening is a gift and it's a strength and it's healing for other people, I began to embrace it, and I began to thank Daddy God, and I began to be excited, and I began to be, you know, to begin transform in my true identity, that I don't need to be like anybody else. I don't need to be embarrassed of my personality. If anything at all, I need to hone it and sharpen it. And by the grace of Daddy God, something's coming soon. I will announce it later on. And so I began to realize that, oh my gosh, I am special. I have these gifts, and I'm an artist as well. The paint behind actually is not mine, but you know, that's another story. I used to look down on my art. I hated the fact, I hated my art, I hated my creativity, because so many things have happened in my childhood that, you know, so there are people who stole my artwork, they stole my creativity, they will say they did it. I had people, all manner of stuff. So it got to a time when I really hated my, and actually, I even wasn't aware that I was carrying this hatred within me, until Daddy God began to open my eyes. That I am the one that gave you that gift, and that gift is not for you. That gift is for you to do so that the world can see it and they can be healed. Now, how many of you have seen a work of art and you just look at it and you don't know what to say? Hi, Bipe, thank you for joining me this afternoon. How many of you have seen a work of art and you just go, something happens inside of you. You're healed inside, you know. So that's, you know, I'm giving you these practical examples about myself and how it's been a transformational journey. Now, one thing I discovered is that even though I'm a quiet person, but when it comes to the things that I'm passionate about, I can talk till heaven. I can talk, but I don't just talk all the time. But I have the areas that I can talk passionately, because I'm connected to my passion. And because of my life story, I didn't have a daddy. Even though my daddy is still alive, but I've never had a daddy. And I got introduced to the real Daddy God. And so you can understand why I'm so passionate about Daddy God. And I want to introduce everybody to Daddy God, and to the real Daddy God, and the things that he can do in your life, you know. So you and I, we are a masterpiece. You and I am masterpiece. Have you taken time? Do you know your personality? There are tests out there. Justine, if you're there, if you can please put some links out there for people. Oh yes, she's put it out there. Thank you so much, Justine. So there are tests that you can do where you can begin to discover yourself. So doing that, and then spiritual gifts. You know, we are talent. Daddy God has given spiritual. If you're a Christian, you've got spiritual gifts. Spiritual gifts. And when I did mine, I found out that mine, I have the gift of encouragement, and I have the gift of teaching. And I was shocked. I'm like, me that my teachers have labeled me anything else. I have the gift of teaching. That is what Daddy God will do for you. When you begin to unveil, when those labels begin to be ripped off, when you walk with Daddy God, you're going to be gobsmacked. You're going to be blown away of your true identity. Trust me, you're going to be blown away. And this may mean that sometimes you're going to have to seek counselors to help you along the journey. You may need a coach, a life coach. You may need to see, a psychiatrist because of the things that have happened to your mind. And that's okay, because Daddy God is the same person who gave them the gift of counseling, or whether it's what do you call them? Psychiatrist, what the other, all those helping professions. Daddy God has given them to help you along that journey. He's giving you to help you. And it is a journey. But one of the greatest is the Word of God. I'm telling you, the Word of God will begin to open your eyes to see your true identity. That you don't need to look at anybody else. You don't need to get your affirmation. Yes, we need to be encouraged, but you don't need to have this unhealthy relationship with people where you're sucking the light of them because you want to be affirmed by them, or you can't live. For example, you can't live yourself. You have to be with a boyfriend, or you have to be with a husband. You have to be somebody because you don't know who you are. So this afternoon, I really want to encourage you here. And especially this afternoon, like I said, I feel like Daddy God wants me to tell you out there, all of you out there that are hurting. And I know what it is to hurt deeply when words do hurt. Anybody who said that sticks and stones will never hurt you, it is not true. They do hurt. Words do hurt. The same way the words, good words, positive words, lift you up and fill you with positive energy and fill you with good, good chemicals in your brain and your body. The same way, when somebody speaks negative words on your life, they do damage to you. They do damage to your body as well. So I really want to encourage you that God, if you don't know me, Daddy God, the Creator, He sees you. Good afternoon, Queen Jiwei. He sees you. He knows you. He knows what you've been through. He knows what you've been through, and He wants to help you. He wants to walk with you. He wants to reveal. He wants to reveal the real you, so that you can begin to walk in this, your true identity. And yes, like I said, it's a journey. So let me look at this comment that Hezekiah has made. He says, can you help me search for a message where Pastor DSA teaches that every Christians are a Levite? My phone battery went off while enjoying the teachings. Please tag me if you got it. Thank you. Okay, I'll speak to you afterwards, Hezekiah. So I'm saying to you that it is a process. Nothing happens overnight. The tapes that you have playing in your head did not happen overnight. They happened, most of the time, they start from your childhood. They start from your childhood, and then they become your mindset, your identity. They become you, and you live them out. So now you have an opportunity to begin to change that by entering a relationship with Daddy God, because He is the master artist. He is the master creator. He made you. He knows all that it is about you. And there's another scripture here that says, Psalm 139, that says, my frame was not hidden from you when I was being formed in the secret, that's in your mother's womb, and intricately and skillfully, as if embroidered with many colors. You and I have been, we've been embroidered with many colors. Now, I was looking for embroidery. The only thing I have here is this, my scarf. And it's not the best example, but here's here's an embroidery of a flower. So this is an embroidery of a flower. Here we go. So this is an embroidery of a flower here. And this is a beautiful flower that has been, you know, knit together, and it comes out like a flower. So what about you and I? The Bible tells us that we have, it's like Daddy God has embroidered us. Is that the word? We've been embroidered, yes, embroidered with different colors. So with different personalities and inclinations and quirks and talents and all that. We're all unique. We're all a bespoke work of art. And you owe it to yourself to begin to discover yourself. Because do you know why? Which I'm going ahead of myself. The world needs you. You have got an amazing abilities, potential, gift that the world without you is not the same. You may think that, yeah, that's not true, but that is true. And I'm going to use the analogy of your body. So I've been talking about gifts, talents, abilities, personalities, and so on. But what about inside your body? There is an intricate network in your body. Have you thought about how your lungs, your heart, your veins, your capillaries, everything, the blood, the cells work together, and they've been working since you were born? This intricate network that Daddy God designed for our body to function. If anything should go wrong, you know the experience of when you stub your toe on something and how painful that is. Just a toe. And the pain that goes through to your brain, or the brain obviously say the brain sends a message to you, to you, and you respond, ouch. Let one part of your body stop functioning, and you see that's going to affect you. That's going to affect you. So when I say to you that you are important to the world, you are important to the world, because there's only one of a kind of you, and you have been sent here. I beg your pardon. You've been sent here for a special and a particular purpose. Now, for those of you who know Dr. Miles Monroe, who passed away, I think 3 or 4 years ago, or maybe more than that, he talks about the graveyard, the cemetery, being the most richest place in the world. Why is it the most richest place in the world? It's because a lot of people died with their potential. So you've got artists, lawyers, teachers, you name it, all the abilities that you can think of that people never tapped into their true potential is now in the grave. Now, if you've had an ailment or an issue and you've been treated by a doctor, what if that doctor never existed? In years past, or centuries past, where there hasn't been a discovery concerning a certain illness, and lots of hundreds and thousands of people have died as a result, because either that person who had the gifts and ability to bring the solution never discovered themselves and passed away, or they lived and they didn't do anything about it. So you are important. You are a masterpiece. You have solutions that the world needs. So I really want to come. I'm going to start wrapping up now. I really want to encourage you that you are not junk. You are not what people have been, the negative stuff that people have been telling you. Maybe your teachers, maybe your parents in their ignorance, maybe the church, maybe what you've been telling yourself all these years. The only person that you need to measure yourself up with is the one who made you, and he does not make trash. God don't make trash. That's the slang. Daddy God does not make trash. That's not his business. Even look at some creators today. Look at Steve Jobs. Look at Steve Jobs. You and I are enjoying iPhone and the internet and everything else, and all these designs that are coming up today, modern designs. You and I are enjoying them. They're not crap. They're not crap. Because of them, because of their ideas, we're enjoying them. And so we need to see you. We need to see what Daddy God has given you to the world. So you are important. You are important. And I do understand your struggles. And like I said last week, it's not that I have arrived. I haven't arrived. I'm on a journey. I'm on a journey becoming stronger. I do get bad days. And I want to be real on this show. I do get bad days sometimes where, I think, and then I may find myself going back to the old pattern of thinking. But I need to remind myself, and then I remind myself what Daddy God has said about me. And like I said, I might get a word of encouragement through email or a book or anything or music. Then I remember, I remember who I am. So we're all, as we walk with that, we're all being awakened to our true identity. So long as we keep on with Him, we are being awakened. So there will be times where you may take 5 steps forward and maybe take 10 steps backwards. But that's okay. We continue. You just dust yourself and pick yourself up. Find somebody who believes in you. Hello, Rogers. Good afternoon. Hey, nice to see you. Hey, people. Rogers was my former vocal coach. I do sing. I have and he was an amazing vocal coach. Thank you so much, Rogers. Thank you. So, yeah, find somebody who believes in you, who can encourage you. Remove toxic people from your life. Remove them from your life. You may need to change friends. You may need to delete some numbers from your phone. Toxic people, and look for people who will empower you. Empower. There's a lady on this show. She mentors girls. Queen Euphoma. She's on the show. She mentors young girls. She's doing a brilliant job. So please, parents, for those of you who may be watching behind the scenes and you haven't logged in to introduce yourself, or you may watch after, please be mindful of the words that you speak to your children, over your children. As a child, when these things are spoken to you, they get stuck in their mind, and it takes almost like a lifetime to begin to take it out of your mind. I'm 55 now. I am 55 now, and I would say that it's just in the last 3-4 years that I'm really entering myself, and there are still some tapes there. There's still stuff that needs to be eradicated, uprooted, but I'm not where I used to be. Else I wouldn't be on this show. Else I wouldn't be doing the Real Daddy God show. So this is to encourage all of you out there. There is hope. There is hope. And there is hope in the wonderful and beautiful person, Daddy God. He says, I will be a father to you, and you'll be my children. He wants to be your father. If you've never had a father before and you have daddy issues, you can call me after the show and we can talk. If you want to talk to me and know my story, I can tell you. Like I said, I'm on YouTube at Anastasia Macdonald, or you go to the Real Daddy God show with Anastasia Macdonald. My story is there. So that's it really. I just want to wrap it around here. I don't want to keep it long. So I've been talking about 5 transforming lessons that will help you. 5 transforming lessons about Daddy God that will help you become rooted in your true identity. And today I've been talking about you are a masterpiece, a bespoke work of art. So don't let anybody tell you otherwise, regardless of what you've been told. And regardless, so maybe you're struggling with you're struggling in academics. It's not everybody that has been wired to be, an academic. You've got other intelligence out there. So some people are wired to be scientists. Some people artists. Some people DIY. They're very good with their hands. So please, parents, be very careful. And learn to study your children yourself. Learn to look at their inclinations and give them support in that area, in the after school and classes or whatever is out there, clubs. Send your children study your children, and don't always believe the teacher's report. And like I said last week, I'm going to wrap up now. Like I said last week, the education system is built on this academics, so English, math, and science. So, but I know today is a bit better. It's a bit better because more knowledge has come. So if your child is struggling in those areas, maybe they're wired differently. Not everybody is called to be an academic. We're all different. So please, parents, I'm imploring and I'm begging you, take time to study your children. Look at where they're gifted. Look at their inclinations. Look at their interests. As a matter of fact, even let me say this, even for the children that love to play Xbox or what's that one, PlayStation, maybe they're wired to be what do you call them? Those people who design games or design apps or things like that. So don't just discount them. Take time. Please take time for your children. I am the product of a lot of hurt and a lot of pain. I have been through a lot of pain. I have been through a lot of sorrow. I have been wounded, deeply wounded. I never knew that I would one day be able to sit in front of a camera and encourage people. It was never on my radar. And it's all because of the things that had been told to me over the years. So I'm speaking to parents, I'm speaking to those who look after children, teachers, church, anybody that has a responsibility over children. Please, please, please be careful of the words you speak over your children. And please take time. Don't let your work take place of your children. Please, even if you know you're that single working man, and I would never disrespect here or play down maybe the role of a single, the hard work and the struggles of a single mother. But you never know, you may be raising the next Obama. You never know. Take time for your children. Take time to listen to them. Take time to hear them, hear their hearts. Spend time with them. Ask them questions. Ask them questions. And when you do wrong, just apologize to them. You're teaching them, you're just teaching them to be a better person. Please, please, please. Hello, Grace. You always come at the end. I'm about to finish off, but hey, nice to see you. Nice, Grace. Yeah, so please, please, please take time to watch your children. Study them. Study yourself. Take time for yourself. Because you are the best you. Nobody's going to do that for you. Take time to understand yourself. Take time to understand the real you, the way that you've been wired. There's something out there called shape, and that's also a test thingy. And shape stands for S stands for spiritual gifts, H stands for heart, which is your passions, A stands for abilities, P stands for personality, and E stands for experience. So that's another way that you can begin to do homework on yourself. Shape. So there's an acronym SHAPE. So I'll repeat that. S stands for spiritual gifts. So spend time knowing your spiritual gifts. H stands for heart. That's your passions, the things that make your heart go boom, 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 the things that you really, really enjoy. A stands for abilities. Take time spending to look at your abilities. P stands for personality. And then E stands for experience. Don't discount your experiences. No matter how painful they are, Daddy God uses your experiences too to help you discover your purpose. So for example, my experience of not having daddy in my life, which I never thought would be part of it, is that today I have the Real Daddy God Show. That's my experience that has been pointing me to do this. So thank you, thank you, thank you. My name is Anastasia Macdonald, and I'm the host of the Real Daddy God Show. Hey, and we're learning here to be fathered by God through everyday living. Thank you so much for your time, every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for spending your afternoon with me. I know you could be doing something else. I really appreciate you. Please share this video so other people can be saved, so that they can be helped, so that their pain can stop, so they can stop crying. Yeah, they can stop crying. They can stop, their tears can be wiped away and say, oh my gosh, finally I found something that can help me. Oh my gosh, I found something. Now I can know who I really am. So please share. Thank you so much, and have a good rest of the afternoon. Thank you so much. It's the Real Daddy God Show. Bye. Woo. Are you listening, little girl, struggling with your confidence? Little girl, I just want. Bye, everybody. It's the Real Daddy God Show. Woo. To him be all the glory. Thank you, Daddy God. Thank you for all the viewers. May you bless them, enrich them. May they be everything that you call them to be. Thank you so much, Daddy God. Thank you. Bye. Woo! 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 Bye, people. Woo! 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 Bye, people. Woo! 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 Hey! Woo! And say, I love me. Look yourself in the mirror and say, I love me. Woo! 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 Yes, I know. I'm not going to. I don't want to go. Woo! 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 Bye, people. Bye, beautiful people. Mwah. Mwah. Bye. Thank you.